Kia ora everyone, and welcome into the Kiwi Darts Podcast with your host, Ben Francis. As always, thanks for listening into the show where we talk all things darts from a New Zealand point of view. If you already like, follow, or subscribe, go give yourself a pat on the back, but then make sure you go recommend this podcast to a friend. We really appreciate all the support as we look to grow the show. As I said in the first episode, that this is a little passion project I'm trying to do, so any support we get is greatly appreciated, and we look forward to having more of you listening in the future. And if this is your first time here, then welcome. Thank you for listening into the Kiwi Darts Podcast. Go check out our pages, go see the interviews we've done with lots of the professional PDC players and also some of our local Kiwi players too. Plenty of great content up on our pages, and there will be plenty more to come in the next few weeks. Earlier this week, we did launch our first official episode of the Kiwi Darts Podcast, where we did recap the 2024 New Zealand Darts Masters, which took place in Hamilton and was won by Luke Humphries. That was done at the time of recording 6 days ago. It's kind of crazy it's been that long already. It's already quite sad. It's you kind of get that few days through and you kind of hit that post-blues, that post-event blues where you're like, oh, I really wish it was back. I have to wait now 51 more weeks at least till it comes back down here. So plenty of excitement from my perspective there, where I'm already looking forward to 2025, but man, it's going to be a long wait. Anyways, that first episode was focusing on hearing from the 6 Kiwi players who took part in the event. And as I was finishing putting it together, I thought to myself, why don't we do an episode where we hear from the PDC pros about New Zealand? So instead of doing things that I probably should have been doing, I went through the interviews and found some of the best bits from the pros talking about their time here and facing some of our local heroes. I did speak to Luke Humphries twice across the weekend. I spoke to him after he beat Caden Milne on the Friday night, and then also after he lifted the New Zealand Darts Masters trophy. We've got 2 clips of him, and I thought that's where we'd start actually. So I'll play the first clip of Cool Hand Luke. This is from the interview I did with him after his first round win over Caden Milne. Just remember, Luke had never been down to this part of the world before, and he was really excited to finally get here and bring his dad, whose dream was to actually visit Australia. Luke speaks a bit about here being able to actually finally bring his dad down here and what it means to him.
It's really good. I've really been looking forward to making the trip over to Australia and New Zealand. I could have been in last year, but unfortunately, family issues, I couldn't. But no better time to be world champ rather than one to come over here on my first time. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and I've had a great couple of weeks.
And I think it was your dad. You said he always wanted to go to Australia, and it's a place he really wanted to take him. So how was it to actually finally do that?
Yes, he's enjoyed his time as well, so much as I have. We've seen so many different sites. Sydney Opera House and the Bridge, and I've gone to a zoo, and obviously explored a bit here. It's been fantastic. It's been nice to understand the culture of Australia and New Zealand as well. It's a shame to say this, but I've enjoyed the trip more than the darts, and I think I've enjoyed it as a holiday more than I probably should have. But it's hard to come over and not enjoy it and have it for what it is.
It's probably the same as quite a few of the other guys that come here for the first time as well. And I think you were at Hobbiton yesterday.
Yeah.
What did you make of that experience?
That was fantastic. Well, obviously, I've seen I think little parts of the Hobbit in trailers and stuff, and to go there and actually see the set was really cool, to be honest. And it kind of gives that perspective. Maybe you want to go and watch it, and because you envisage yourself being there. But yeah, we've enjoyed it. Like I said, little trips there and stuff like that. It makes the trip worth it. It's a long way to come.
Cool hand, Luke Humphries there, and just a friendly reminder, I will play another clip from him later on in the episode. That one would be after he won the New Zealand Darts Masters title. Next, let's hear from a man who has competed in 7 of the 8 PDC trips to New Zealand, and that man is Snakebite Peter Wright. The only time Peter hasn't played in New Zealand was in 2022, where he had to withdraw. Otherwise, he has been in every event since the Darts Masters first started coming here, which was back in 2015. Here's Snakebite.
It was really good, obviously. The crowd was fantastic. There was both players, not just me. Really good. I'm happy with the win, but obviously I'm gutted for Daniel. Obviously, he can play a lot better than that. So I said to him, maybe, try and qualify for next year, improve yourself, pretend it's like your dojo, where you teach people, because he was pretty nervous up there. And so, hopefully we'll see him next year and more relaxed player.
And in terms of, I know you played Daniel his first time up on stage, but the overall depth of the New Zealand qualifiers, what do you make of the standard of the New Zealand players?
Yeah, well, just the quality of darts all around the world it's just getting better and better and better, because they know there's special things that they can go to the UK and play, become a professional dart player. Look at Damon Hatter now; he's above me in the rankings now. I think he's number 9 or 10 in the world. He's took that leap, and he's just proved that he can go out and earn a good living, look after his family and stuff like that. And everyone's got the ability in them. It's whether to take that chance. And obviously the field we got here is fantastic.
Peter right there, and don't forget you can hear the full interviews with the players on our YouTube and Spotify pages if you would like to listen to the full chats. Those are all there for you to enjoy. When that clip was playing, actually, and I should have probably said this earlier, but I said just before about Peter's been down here 7 times, and I believe those 7 times actually put him second all time on the most appearances by a PDC pro in New Zealand. 7 out of the 8 times they've been here. The only man who has featured in 8 events down in New Zealand is the wizard Simon Whitlock. Being Australian, that always helps, but he's the only man who has played here in every single event. And interestingly enough, both players have actually never played in a New Zealand final, whether that was the Auckland Darts Masters or the New Zealand Darts Masters, which I consider it's the same event pretty much. It's just got a different location and a different name. Both players, I think, have actually made the semi-finals on occasions. I remember Simon was 2018 in Auckland. I think he made it one year, and Peter made it this year. So yeah, they've both made the semi-finals. I don't think either of them have made the final, which is actually quite interesting considering how long they've been coming here. And I'm slightly digressing here, but I actually wonder which Kiwi has played the most here at the New Zealand Darts Masters. Just trying to think off the top of my head. I would assume it's Warren Parry, because of his longevity in the sport and how long he's been at the top of the game. I know he definitely wasn't here this year, of course. I'm trying to remember back to the early Darts Masters. He's either been in 6 or 7 himself. I'm going to say 6. I can recall him being at 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2022, 2023, but I don't remember 2015 that well. I probably should have fact-checked this before I said this, but I guess this is the beauty of just singing the things off the top of my head. I might make a note and actually go do some research and do a tally and see who's actually played the most from the Kiwis. It'll be actually quite interesting to calculate how many New Zealanders have actually played. And even if I put into consideration the ones that have been in Australia as well and actually have a total list and see most appearances in the World Series events, that might be something to do. That's a little task I'll look at doing. Back on track anyways, one man who has won down here, and like Luke Humphreys, was on his first trip as well back in 2022. That man was the Iceman, Gerwyn Price. Price beat Ben Robb in his first round encounter, and not for the first time as well. The two met in the first round in Hamilton back in 2022 as well. And here are some of the things that Price had to say after that performance.
I felt comfortable, I felt confident before the game, felt comfortable in the game, just missed a couple of doubles early on, and probably should have been 3-0 up and kept him in the game. And then obviously his tail is up and he's at 140s for fun, crowd is getting behind him, and then I'm probably getting a little bit frustrated, but just keeping my composure and trying to get over the winning line. And yeah, after 3-all and he missed a couple of doubles to go 4-3 up, I sort of run away with it, I think.
Do you think the confidence after the success in Australia last week probably helped?
100%. If that was my first game last week, I'd probably lose it because I'm thinking differently and the confidence in there. But yeah, thankfully I come here off the back of a win and played probably New Zealand's top player, possibly top 3 anyway, top 2. But yeah, it's good for me to get a win and another boost of confidence. Looking forward to tomorrow.
When you play someone like Ben Robb and then you experience that crowd, and how does it compare to other places?
Oh, trust me, I've had worse. Don't worry about that. I've played in some hostile situations and venues, but that was pretty good.
Gerwyn Price there, and from one world champion to another, and also from one New Zealand Darts Masters champion to another, the man that headed into this year's event as the defending champion, and that was Voltage Rob Cross. Now, Rob came through a tough battle with Hopai Puha, which he won 6-5. That was the same score as in Wollongong when the two players met the previous week. Rob spoke very highly of Hopai and the players that come out of New Zealand.
The ability is great. I think the big difference is what you've got to think, and then when we take darts around the world anyway, I think my opinion on all this stuff you meet a lot of guys with the ability what can do great things. The difference is we do it week in, week out.
Yeah.
And when you're saying to a person, and put it on the other foot if you want, you know, I could go in and I play one professional tournament a year. And you say to me, right, I've got to shine in that moment. Damon had done it and beat me in the Brisbane final then, you know, a fair few years ago. It's very tough for him because it's now or never. You've got to wait another year to get another chance, and that's a lot of pressure on these guys and all, you know. So maybe getting on tour makes it a little bit easier because you're around the surroundings. It's an all-year tour. It don't really stop. It don't sleep, you know, and that would bring their ability out a lot more. But I think for what you've got here, with everything, I think they handled themselves amazingly, and they all need a pat on the back. And look, we do it every week, and they don't.
Do you think you have a bit more of an understanding of that, though, considering your story in darts as well, and the fact that it actually wasn't that long ago, to be fair, that you were working a full-time job and playing darts a little bit, and now, of course, where you are now, but because it wasn't that long ago, you might think, I can actually understand how these guys are feeling.
Look, it's a tough balance. It really is. It's one of them things, like when you got to work and you work, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 days a week sometimes, you know, like I was here and there, and it's hard to put time in. What I used to try and do was try and practice 20 minutes. I know it sounds silly, but like you pick a dart up for 20 minutes, you put it down, and then you do all your family time or whatever time it was, get a bit of dinner, literally shower, and then back at work the next day. You know, that's tough. That's tough as a human being. That's tough to graft, let alone sort of trying to get that time where you can actually perfect your game or get your game better. So yeah, I can relate to it and still never forget it. You know, some of the best days of my life, but then on the other hand, I probably have the coolest job in the world now.
I just going back to the crowd as well, what did you make of that reception for Hopai? Because it was his first time playing in New Zealand, and of course, since the last time he was here, he's now a tour card holder, which is a massive thing, being the first Kiwi to actually achieve that.
Yeah, but I think it's fantastic, and you'll watch others now. The growth will only be, look, as soon as someone's successful and it starts to get to aim, and you can see that, and he's been unfortunate the last 2 weeks against me, you know. I've managed to scrape a win, and on another day maybe that would have been different, you know. But I think for a country and everyone looking as a fan, and yeah, everyone can get involved in that and be inspired by that, and just keep moving forward, really, you know. And look, there's some quality players out here, and I wish them all the best. But yeah, I hope they come over and have another bash. It'd be good.
Rob Cross there with some nice words towards some of our local players on the Kiwi Darts podcast. I have to admit, he is a great dude away from the oche. I really, really enjoyed talking to him when I get the chance. Now, little fun fact here, and I actually might need to make a little fun fact sting because I seem to throw these fun facts out quite a lot, and I guess I like doing that because I get random thoughts that pop into my head and also keeps everyone on their toes. So if anyone listens to this, they say, I remember your fun facts. So that's something I want to work on, a little fun fact sting. I'll make a note of that right now next to the most New Zealand appearances at the New Zealand Darts Masters. Jeez, I'm creating quite a list for myself, aren't I? Anyways, this fun fact before I lose everyone's interest was back in 2018, Rob Cross was actually the first PDC pro I ever interviewed, which I guess is always quite special from someone in my perspective working in media. I'd spoken to a few of the Kiwi lads before, but yeah, Rob was the first PDC guy that I spoke to. This would have been, I reckon, about halfway through the 2018 Premier League campaign, so it would have been about March, so I'm assuming early March would have had the announcement with the Auckland Darts Masters coming to New Zealand, and they would have released the first few players, and Rob would have been one of them, being the reigning world champ. I think that came out early March, but I didn't get to speak to him for a couple of weeks because I'm pretty sure he was traveling. He arrived at the location where they were playing that night, and I'm pretty sure he was asleep, so he actually missed the interview, and I had to reschedule it for a couple of weeks. But yeah, that was March 2022 from memory, where I spoke to Rob Cross, the first PDC pro I ever interviewed. That, of course, was on the phone before Zoom was a real thing as well. So quite a cool memory from my perspective. having speaking to Rob Cross. He's always going to be the first PDC pro I ever spoke to. Moving on, and one of the other new faces in New Zealand this year was the teenage sensation Luke Littler. As we know, he's taken the world by storm, reaching the World Darts Championship final as a 16-year-old in his debut campaign, the first time he could actually legally play in the event. And of course, he's gone on to win the Premier League. He's gone on to win Players' Championships. I think maybe a European Tour title, but don't quote me on that. So he's done a lot already in the sport. He's absolutely killing it. But the teenage sensation was a massive draw card this year at the New Zealand Darts Masters. The now 17-year-old has had some battles with Ben Robin Hopai Puha in the past in an online setting, and after all these years, the players finally got to meet face to face. Here's Luke Littler.
Not been there for a long amount of time, but I'm just there to play darts and then go home.
Have you enjoyed the experience of coming down under as part of the World Series?
I've enjoyed it. Like I just said there, it come around very quick. One day I was chilling at home, next minute I'm on a flight here. So that's what's going to happen all year long, because there's plenty of other competitions, but I've enjoyed it this year.
Of course, you would have known about all the hype around yourself, and has it been kind of what you expected, the reaction from the locals here?
It's for me to say about them, it's once a year for these guys to see us come down and play darts. So I just want to play my best, not only for myself, but for the fans who witness it once a year, and also their representatives.
What did you make of that crowd?
It's good. Hopefully it's packed out tomorrow. Still a good crowd tonight, but there's plenty of games, quarters, semis and finals tomorrow, so I'm good to see it packed out.
And you beat Johnny there. What was your takeaways from that match?
I started off very well, 2-0 up, and then next minute it's 2-2 and he's back in the game. Took out a 1-5-5 to go 4-3, and he could have got back into it, but I'm just glad I got over the line.
What have you made of the standard of the New Zealand players, and even the Australian players as well from last week? I know because you guys have actually had your way over them, unfortunately, but what have you made of the standard?
It's been good. I know a few guys, and I didn't know a few here, and also last week in Wollongong, but they've certainly got some good players over here.
And we've heard a few stories about was during the lockdown period all those many years ago when you were playing the likes of Ben, and I think you might have played Hopai as well on the online darts as well. So, and they spoke about quite highly of you even back at 14 years old about how good you were.
Yeah, that was just a competition online in lockdown for ourselves, and coming up against Hopes and Ben, it was good to play against me. It definitely challenged me because I was a younger Luke Littler back then. But even good to speak to them properly in person. It's been good.
Teenage sensation Luke Littler there on his debut trip to the New Zealand Darts Masters. Now, probably my favourite chat of the lot I did, and that was with Dimitri Vandenberg. I've spoken to Dimmy a few times over the years. I didn't get the chance to talk to him last year, though, because usually they don't let you talk to players after they lose these matches. Sometimes when you're backstage, you can see why, because you see a lot of frustration from the players, but others not so much. And I think this actually was the case, because even though I didn't get to speak to Dimitri, when he lost to Hopai Puha last year, I was probably about 50 meters away, and he was walking back to the players area, and he was just like, I just have to congratulate him. It was like, he played so well, there's nothing I could do. He was actually in quite a buoyant mood, which was quite incredible, and actually very respectful of Dimitri there, which was great to see. Anyway, he's probably the most connected player to New Zealand after getting a tattoo whilst in Auckland last year. I think he said it was on his left leg from memory. And in this clip that I'm about to play, you'll hear why I had to bring it up.
We've got some good friends here that we already classify as family. Even though we don't see each other much, we still follow each other up, and now and then we text each other, and that's just awesome. That's like an amazing thing to have, that you've got family for your own choice all over the world. And I really hope that Hopes is not the only one that's going to win his tour card. Hopes is a fantastic player. He's a fantastic person. Him and his family are really sweet people, and he's already shown why he won his tour card. He's already showed class. So yeah, I just feel that there are a lot of hidden gems around here walking around that haven't got the chance yet to shine.
I'd have to ask as well, how's your young one? Because I think last time I spoke to you, your partner and your
I was only just turned to be that year. I get that. Remember that. My little girl's gonna go to school in December. But right now, she just is, unbelievable. She's a princess for me, and that what makes it definitely hard to be here. So, Damon Hedda and Hopai Pua, a lot of respect for these guys because they're so far away from their family. They barely get to see them when they're on tour. So it's really tough what they are doing, because I already feel it's tough for me to be away for 2 weeks from my family that's like living in a complete different time zone.
I don't know if you remember this, but when we spoke a couple of years ago, one of the questions I asked you was about possibly getting some ink in New Zealand, and I think you said that you weren't going to, but I'm pretty sure last year I saw, did you get a tattoo on your leg?
I have a tattoo.
Yes,
correct.
I did ask you, and you said, no, I won't, and then I saw one, you got one last year, and I didn't get the chance to ask you, so I'll ask you now.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I definitely have a tattoo on my left leg now, on the back of it, and it's about my life, it's about my spiritual guide, it's about my family, it's about the challenges that I had to overcome. It's all part of this tattoo, and it's taking the full size of the back of my lower leg. But yeah, I'm proper buzzing. It looks mint. The guy that done it is from Maya Ink Tattoos. His name was Kimball. He done an amazing job. 4 hours time. It was all day. He did it hands-free. Yeah, it was really cool to experience it, and I want to say thank you to Ben Rupp, because it's his tattooist, and he sorted me out in Auckland. I'm sorted now. I've got the ink on the body, brother.
That's nice. So, what about the whole process of getting it, and what did you learn about getting it and about those roots?
One of the first few things that I've learned is kia ora, toa kana, toa hini. Just take care of you guys. I've also been a couple of years ago back with the guys in some sort of a village, and they gave us a little bit of a show in saying like thank you to the forefathers, thank you to the grass, thank you to the food, all of that stuff. I think it's amazing. It's so much spiritual, and as soon as that stuff is happening, you feel it's real. These guys, whatever they believe in, they make you feel that it's there, and that feeling on its own, that's magic. Magic is something you wouldn't believe in until you all of a sudden see it, and then it's real. And that's what this experience has been for me in the Maori culture, and I just love to be in New Zealand, really.
Dimitri Vandenberg there, the dream maker. Pretty cool having him back in New Zealand. As I said before, he's a good dude away from the Oki. I have lots of time for him. And I was actually listening back to some of my old interviews I did with him prior to recording to this. And there was a lot of fun, I had to say. I was trying to teach him some of the Kiwi lingo, as I like to call it. So some good memories here with Dimitri. Hopefully he'll be back in the future. And another man who has strong connections to New Zealand for a very different point of view. And that's because this man has darts manufactured in Katikati, which is in the Bay of Plenty area, and that is Michael Smith. Yes, the Bully Boy signed with Shot Darts last year, and just last month extended that deal for a further 7 years. So Michael Smith's darts are manufactured by a New Zealand company, which is really, really cool to see. And in this clip, you're going to hear exactly why he wanted to put pen to paper again on a long-term deal, and some of the reasons why he loves it down here. Here's the Bully Boy, Michael Smith.
This is one place I come that I've always loved. I know we go to everywhere else, but it's here. When I'm back home, I'm more of like a country person. I like the fields, I like just being alone, and when I come here I get to experience that. And now when I go to Shot and I go down to Katikati or the Waihi Beach where they stay as well, it's just nothing there, and I love it. And signing the new deal with him for another 7 years, it made sense. It's just, I love being here, I love New Zealand, I love Peter at Shot, and it's just it's the family thing about it, and that's me as well, so it made sense.
Of course, you got the special shirt for here as well.
Yeah, every time I come away, like a different World Series, they change the shirts, and yeah, I nearly messed up. Lucky enough for my son, because it was like the shirt maker sent him me, and this had Wollongong on the back, and then the White Stars had Hamilton, and he was like, "That's wrong." I was like, "It's not. He's done his thing." He went, "No, it's wrong." So I had an argument with him. check the flags, and was like, "Oh yeah, he's right." So I had to find someone in Settlings back home to literally cut it in half and stitch it all back together. So otherwise, I was coming here just in a normal shirt.
Well, just so you know, you want to be the first person to ever get or someone to get the flags mistaken. It happens all the time. That's why we had a referendum a few years ago, which didn't go through.
I couldn't do that, especially being with Shot as well. it wouldn't look good.
And I think it came out a couple of days ago too that there's going to be a special edition set of darts getting released.
It's for the World Cup. It's 1,000 sets. I got 41 of them. Well, 43. I've got 2 of my own, one for me and one for my parents. 41 that I'll sign and then send them out, but the rest will be out on the 22nd as well. It's just the World Cup, there's a few changes. They'll see it itself. The box is still the same as the Achieve ones, but everything else inside, it's got my point I use, my stem, and half of my flight with the gold, and then there's red inside as well. It's a bit different.
I'm starting to sound like I'm repeating myself a lot now, and I know I am, but another good chat with Michael. He's another guy who I really like away from the Oki. And I think it's just because having these guys have been coming here now for a few years. Like Michael goes back to 2017, 2018, one of the two, I can't remember exactly. So it's been quite a few years since I've seen him, and you get to know the guys over the years. You have chats with them on the phone and all sorts like that. And then when they come here, you're like, oh, it's so and so. Remember talking? They're like, yeah. And then you kind of have that connection. So I've just got to know some of these guys really well over the years, and lots of them are really good guys away from the Oki. I can't really stress that enough, how nice some of these people are. And I really like the fact that Michael, his darts are made by Shot, and probably guarantees that he'll be down here every year as long as the New Zealand Darts Masters is here. But it's really cool because he's one of the biggest names in the sport, and great for the Kiwi company Shot Darts to be supporting one of the biggest names in the sport. And now let's wrap things up with the final clip of Luke Humphries after he claimed his New Zealand Darts Masters crown. I had to start off by asking him because on the TV coverage, he mentioned how the Hamilton crowd was better than the Wollongong crowd, and I had to make sure that he was telling the truth, so I doubled down and asked him, was the Hamilton crowd truly better than Wollongong?
It was, yeah. To be honest, it really was. It was, the Australian crowd last week was obviously fantastic as well. There's no disrespect there. It's just thought the crowd were really good tonight. They was really up for it. They enjoyed it. The songs they were singing, it really was fantastic, and they enjoyed themselves. And it gives the crowd, the players, a bit more of a boost when the crowd's going, crazy. They were really enjoying the moment, and you kind of look back to them. It's kind of a shame that you only play once a year because you'd love to play here more, but unfortunately it's so far away. It's hard to play more than we do. But yeah, the crowd were absolutely fantastic tonight and yesterday as well, and that's why I paid homage to them.
Well, we would all definitely love you guys to come down here more often. And of course, you winning the trophy, you've got such a massive trophy cabinet now. Where's this one going to be sitting in the house?
I don't know, to be honest. You have to ask me girlfriend or my fiance, to be honest. I don't know. I was sitting very proud on the somewhere in the kitchen with all the others. But yeah, it's been an unbelievable 12 months. There's so many trophies won. Got a couple of good few runners up as well. So it's something that I'm really, really privileged to have done. Being a World Series champion now for the first time, it's funny. It's a monkey off your back a little bit. I've obviously won the Worlds. I've won many major titles, but I haven't won a World Series. So I finally got that off my back, and really, really pleased.
And I guess coming down to the other part of the world for the first time, I guess it can be a little bit of a daunting thing. I've never gone to the Northern Hemisphere, so I'd probably feel the exact same way. But I guess, does it make it really worth it walking away with the trophy?
Oh yeah, for sure. It makes it double worth it. To be honest, I think if I didn't win, it would have still been a great journey because, this is my first time in Australia and New Zealand. My dad's come. He's enjoyed himself as well, and we've had a great trip. If I didn't win the trophy, it still would have been worth it for us, regardless, to be honest. But when you go home with a trophy and it makes it feel a lot more worth coming here, then of course, it feels even better. But, without the trophy, I still would have enjoyed myself here, and I still wouldn't have gone home disappointed. I would have been very, very happy with my, my time. But it's really, really tough, the time zone, and the jet lag is incredibly hard. You don't just need to ask me, you can ask all the players, the staff, all the people that come here. It's incredibly tough. It really is. I feel absolutely exhausted now, but I go home tomorrow so I could sleep off and enjoy some family time. But yeah, it was really tough, but I got the trophy now so I can enjoy that moment.
Yeah, and of course now the challenge will be hopefully you coming back next year to defend your title. Do you think you'll bring your fiance at all, or any other more of your family?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I can come back next year. It's always tough because it's in the holidays, it's in the school holidays, and I know it's at the stage. I look forward to coming back next year, but it's kind of, it's hard. It's school holidays. I've got children. To be away for 2.5 weeks every time in the school holidays and not bring my fiance, it's hard. It really is, because that's the time where I want to spend family time. I want to enjoy myself, and obviously I can't do that if I'm not with them, and it's always hard to bring them over. So maybe the question will be we'll see if my son's okay to come and do a 24-hour flight, because he's still young. It'll be nearly 3, so it's still young. He might not like it, and I'll see what my girlfriend says, because if she don't want to come, maybe I might not be able to myself. But I'd love to come back, so I enjoyed myself, and I'll explore a little bit more of Australia, a little bit more of New Zealand, but we'll have to see, of course. But I'll be happy to come back.
Once again, congratulations to the 2024 New Zealand Darts Masters champion, cool hand Luke Humphries. Pretty cool now that I think about it. Fun fact again, Fun fact. Anyways, pretty cool that in the 4 years the tournament has been coming to Hamilton, there's been a different winner in each event. And I'm pretty sure that there's been different finalists now, come to think of it. I'm going to try guess these off the top of my head. 2019 was the first New Zealand Darts Masters in Hamilton, and that was Van Gerwen defended the title against Barney, because that was a repeat of the final in Auckland the previous year. So 2 different finalists there. 2022, the first year after COVID, was Gerwin Price won it, and he beat Johnny Clayton in the final from memory. So yeah, that was an all Welsh battle. I remember speaking to both those guys after that final. And last year, Rob Cross beat Nathan Aspinall, I'm pretty sure it was. And of course, this year, Luke Humphreys beat Damon Hedder. So different finalists every year at the New Zealand Darts Masters. That's pretty cool to come to think about it. I'm glad I can cross that one off my list now, so I don't have to remember something else for the next episode of the Kiwi Darts Podcast. And we're going to be drawing a close to the second official episode of the Kiwi Darts Podcast here. That is it, the wrap, done and dusted from the 2024 New Zealand Darts Masters in Hamilton. This one on the PDC Pros perspective on New Zealand. Our first episode was our local players and what it meant to them being up on that stage. I honestly can't wait for the New Zealand Darts Masters to return next year, and if anybody is willing to help me get over to Aussie to cover that leg of the World Series too, you know where to contact me. I would really appreciate any support I can, even if it's not in Australia and let's say it's somewhere else that's not too far away. Any way I can get to these events, I would absolutely love going to a different World Series. Experiencing that would be pretty mint, I have to admit. Anyways, I'm Ben Francis. Thanks for listening to our second New Zealand Darts Masters recap on the Kiwi Darts Podcast. I appreciate everyone listening in, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that usual stuff. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with a player interview, which we're going to be doing a lot more in the series, and I really appreciate everyone listening in. As always, thank you so much for listening. Ka kite.